My take 5 today is something I'm hoping to teach more in depth during the winter intensive. So we will dive right in. For those in the Beit Midrash, I already shared with you my sources. For my friends on Zoom, here's a link to the Google Doc of the sources I'll be referencing as well, so that you can follow along. But when we think of Tractate Eruvin, often the first thing that everyone thinks about is the complex measurements and these in-depth technicalities of what it means to build a kosher Eruv, right? This enclosure that allows us to carry on Shabbat. But I'm going to argue that if we take a step back, Eruvin really gives us a framework to build a strong and resilient community, right? About a third of the way into the Daf, we are told that we are asked, what is its name? Mashmo? Eruvin Shemo. Eruvin, joining is its name, right? So Eruvin is really all about coming together and joining. And to do that, the rabbis give us these top 5 values. Right? So the first one is responsibility. And with responsibility, the rabbis are looking at the scenario of an alleyway and how much you can carry there and what happens if there's this cross beam that's lopsided. And the rabbis focus on, well, if this is a communal alleyway, right, many people are involved and we are able to notice when those cross beams perhaps are lopsided that might invalidate the Eruv. But the rabbis argue because we are all responsible for one another, we would recognize that this cross beam is lopsided and come together as a community to really support each other and to really be responsible. From there, the rabbis continue on and give us our next value of compassion, right? The Talmud tells us great is human dignity, which even supersedes a negative precept of the Torah. The rabbis recognize that there are times where perhaps we forget to make an Eruv, or perhaps we've created an Eruv that maybe is too small, but we are able to use this concept to allow those who forgot to build an Eruv, instead of just trapping them in this 4 amots that they're allowed to stay in over Shabbat, they're able to go and to expand their Eruv to visit others in the community. The next one is respect. How often do we want to just share what we know, but perhaps not necessarily in the most respectful manner? Maybe it's to override a teacher's ruling, which is the example that we're given in the Daf. But again, we need respect in our community to showcase the strength and the connections that we all have. When we're able to come together and respect one another, right, then we are able to truly have this strong community. The fourth value I want to take a look at is accessibility. One of the aspects of a kosher Eruv is how tall an Eruv is. If it is too tall, if it's placed in a tree and we can't access it, the Eruv is invalid. So when we are looking to create our community, when we are looking to build our Eruv, we need to create it in a way that is accessible to all. And lastly, partnership. One of the main focuses throughout Eruvin is this idea of coming together in order to build an Eruv. And how do we do that? The Gemara tells us it's with food. With COVID, it's been hard to come together through food, but we've done it through our Rosh Chodesh breakfasts. And it's a great reminder how we're able to come together to really strengthen our bonds as a community. So with these 5 values in mind, I just want to leave you with a reflecting question of what happens if one of these values is missing? And what happens if we want to make sure that our community is truly strong and resilient, even in times when we can't always be together fully in person?